All right, so last week I posted a video on gun control, or a debate that I was going to have with a friend about gun control, and the debate never happened. He totally bailed and left me hanging. But nonetheless, I prepped for a debate. I prepped for a debate, and I just wanted to give you guys an update that I've become slightly more moderate on gun control. I still am much more against it and much more anti-gun than I am pro-gun. That's just kind of my own worldview and my belief that having something that deadly be given to a bunch of people is going to lead to more violence if that becomes more of an option. But what I really appreciate is I learned quite a bit about the Constitution, about the amendments, and about the flexibility and the consequences of making an amendment flexible. I learned about the origin of where the Second Amendment came from. You know, when we basically fled to this country and wanted to establish a government that couldn't be, taken over by, or establish a a society that couldn't be overthrown by its government due to weapons that couldn't defend itself against a tyrannical government. There, finally got to it. And other things that I thought was really interesting points was the fact that guns, it's really hard to measure this. I didn't really like the statistic, but it's worth thinking about, that gun violence or guns save more lives than they kill. They kill around, I think it was 30,000 lives per year. It was the CDC said it was something like 12,000 was from suicide, and 18,000 was from actual offensive use of a firearm, or those numbers are reversed, one or the other. You can look it up yourself. But the idea here is that between 500,000 and 3 million lives are saved with defensive use of a firearm. I'm not sure how correct that statistic is, but I think the bottom line is there that guns do save lives. Defensive uses of guns save lives, like that dude in Florida at that church who saved the entire congregation because he was the one dude with a gun. So and I have the privilege of living in a neighborhood in Seattle where I don't have to worry about gun violence. That's just not really a part of my life, you know. But I think that the philosophy of I have this gun and I'm going to protect myself, and I have that option to kill other people. I don't know. There's just like, I would rather be robbed. I would rather be, you know. It just seems like so often it can escalate. You know, it just escalates a situation. Yes, somebody might be crazy and they might like pull a gun on you and shit, but like that person's probably sad and fucked up, and you know, on one level, fuck them, but on another level, it's like, dude, their life is probably a lot worse than yours if they're having to do stupid shit like that. And the odds of you finding a psychopath that is just walking around holding a gun, you know, and that's your defense against a psychopath, it's like, well, that's such an outlier case. It's such a dumb argument because there's so few people that are actually like that in our society, or at least that actually interact with our society. Occasionally they do, and it's all over the news, and we think that, you know, everybody that they're all over the place all at once. But we know that the news is sensationalized, and that we only see the most radical things that happen every day. So it skews our perception of how safe things actually are. And if you look at the data, we've actually been getting more educated, more affluent, safer, less violent crime over the last 20 years. So this is all to say that my point of view on gun control has become, like, I understand that there are different experiences out there. I understand that there's people that need guns, like, specifically to, like, get food. Like, there's people in the middle of the country that use their guns to get the food that they eat. I'm not going to, like, the idea that we should strip those people of their way of life because guns are scary that's not a good idea. And you know, I also learned that there's a lot of background checks on this stuff. Like, it's really hard to get a gun, but that's still juxtaposed with how easy it is to just kind of like, or how many illegal activities happen where people can just go up to gun shows and buy guns or whatever it is, and how pervasive that experience is where someone can illegally get a firearm. I call it a firearm now because I've become so educated. But yeah, I enjoyed the debate with myself since it didn't happen with him. I enjoyed prepping for it. I know a bit more about the Constitution. It only made me more interested in the topic itself. And I encourage you that if you're on the right or on the left, to just spend a day reading about the other side's statistics, reading about what their legitimate arguments are. Because I think that people aren't just. I know that our temperaments and our personalities are fundamentally different, and that can affect how we view things politically. That's fair. And I don't think that I'm ever going to be a really like intense Republican one day. Just like if you're a big Republican, I don't expect you to all of a sudden become a tree-hugging liberal. But at the same time, I think that just like people balance each other out, you know, like extroverted people tend to end up with like introverted people or whatever it is, expressive people are with, you know, more diligent, logical people. I think that our political sphere, we're meant to balance each other out, and that the truth, the healthy truth, is always somewhere in the middle. So I encourage you to, if you don't know what the left truth is, for you to check it out, and I encourage you, if you're on the left, to check out what the right has to say. It's not just a bunch of idiots. It's easy to think that, but that's probably you rationalizing your own story, so you stay comfortable. All right, that's my update. Peace out.